The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
Welcome you tonight, and if you could put in the chat where you're from. Love to see all the people from all around the United States. One of these days it's going to be all around the world. So I'm actually in Oregon right now. Most of the time I'm in Florida. I see that we've had somebody representing New York and Los Angeles, Louisiana, Georgia, California. Gosh, coast to coast here. I see a Floridian in there as well. Man, look at those zoom in. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm really excited that you guys could be on. I am Lisa Castro, and you are at the Habits of Health call, and I am wondering if it's too loud downstairs because we actually have a house full of people. And at the same time, it's pretty cool that there are people watching this Habits of Health call down in my living room as we are presenting tonight. So we're going to be talking about this topic afterwards, and I hope you will do dialogue around this as well, because this is an amazing topic for no matter where you're at on your journey, no matter what your role in life is. Are you living above the line? That's the title of our presentation today. So I'm going to go ahead and start and welcome everybody that's on tonight. All right, so what we're going to be doing is talking about the topic of living above the line. And, have you thought about what that means? Some people will think, what does that mean? So I'm going to describe it to you. You're controlling you, or are you in control of your mind? You thought about that? I remember when I started my journey over 15 years ago, our son had had a party, and it had pizza in the refrigerator. And I went to grab it, and I was on probably like the 10th day of the program. And I went to put it up to my mouth. And I stopped I literally had my mouth open, and I stopped myself and I said, I know what pizza tastes like. It's been around for quite a long time, and I have a feeling it will be around after I get to my healthy weight, and I could have it as one of my choices later on, just a smaller serving. I stopped myself right then and there. I cannot tell you how empowering that was, because food controlled me. I allowed it to control me. Do we sometimes say that we have no choice? Look at our situation. Yeah, I've been there. I know what that's like. So we're going to be talking about how you can rise above that, not only eating, but all aspects of your life. So a lot of what I'm sharing tonight is things that we've learned through a book called The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership. And if you say, I'm not a leader, we're all leaders, even if it's our own journey, our own health journey. A new paradigm for sustainable success has a lot to do with our thoughts and what we do with them. And we had the opportunity to talk with the author Jem Benthmer and Dr. A just recently, and it just really brought it home again for me, and thinking how important this is when we have control of our thoughts. And we're going to go through we've touched on this topic in the past, but I wanted to mix it up just a little bit so you would get some more insights, and then I'd love to ask you some questions toward the end to see what you're learning from it as well. So I'm going to ask you, are you striving to become the best version of yourself? What does that mean? Dr. A says we're becoming the best version of ourselves as we work on our personal growth. What that really is boiling down to, are you conscious? A lot of times people think conscious means that you're awake or you know what's going on around you. And unconscious means you're unconscious, where you're on the ground. Well, the authors are talking about being fully aware or present of what's going on around you, being aware of your thoughts even, being intentional about who you are becoming. You notice I didn't say what you're becoming, but who you are becoming. How would people describe you? Would they describe you as an identity of like a nurse, a mom? But would they describe you as who you're becoming, as becoming more confident, more relational, more integrous, more trustworthy, more fun? What do you want to become? How do you want to show up when you walk into a room? Are you the person that lights up the room when you walk in? Or the one that people are like, it lights up when you walk out? Who do you want to become? I was the one that would probably light up the room when I walked out in the past. I would put a smile on, and then I go and feel sorry for myself and fall in bed just fatigued so terribly from dealing with the disease that I was dealing with. So the other thing that you could do, instead of becoming, you could suppress your emotions. Anybody ever do that? I know I did. I kept them to myself because I thought nobody cared. Or I could express them inappropriately. Tell everybody how I feel. Well, that's just the way I feel, and so I'm going to share that. Or I'm upset, so I'm going to very much express it, but in a way that's harmful to relationships. Are you aware of your unproductive thoughts? Ego-driven? You're protecting yourself when you think somebody might be not approving of something you've done, or they're competing with you, or you're afraid they're going to make you look stupid. And we make choices based on those thoughts. Are you critical? Blaming of others? Judgmental? And I'm talking about your inner self, or when you're doing it of others. Sometimes we protect our own ego and we blame somebody else when really what's going on inside of us. It's also called projection. We see in others what we really are doing ourselves, and we don't even recognize it. The inner critic is somebody that keeps criticizing our own selves. See, there you go again. You blew it. You blow it every time. That's just the way you are. This is just the way I'm always going to be. If I could just. How many of us do that? Have you ever had replaying thought games? Meaning that I've known, I can even do this still to this day. Lay in bed and the same thought keeps rolling through my head over and over and over. And then sometimes it'll snowball and get even bigger. And then that will be a conversation that I might have with somebody that gets even bigger. And so this little thing becomes this big thing. Which one do you like better? The one that's becoming more conscious, aware, present, intentional about who we're becoming, or the one that's not even aware that they're doing a lot of things? They're not aware that they're making choices based on just reacting to their life. I like the first one better. I'm working on it. Here's a simplified way of looking at it. Are you living above the line or below the line? If you could just have this imaginary line in your mind's eye and you say, am I being fully present? Presence is about that awareness, being conscious of what you're doing, what you're thinking, how you're acting, how you're showing up. Below the line, those would be the things we're talking about, the thoughts that drive you and you start putting you in a reactive state that causes you to show up in a way that you might not want to be. And other people might not want it as well. Drama, who needs that? So here's another way to look at it. This is a visual. I love pictures and illustrations. That's why I do a lot of PowerPoint slides, is just so you can see and envision things I'm talking about. Dr. A had this illustration commissioned years ago for the Habits of Health book. And I say it was about me, just changed the identity in the picture, but it really was me holding onto that huge rock. I bet nobody else has experienced it, why you can't do something. Victim, concepts, limiting beliefs, problems that are going to keep you from having that vision in the distance of what you really want. And you know how to get there, and you even have a health coach to guide you through it. And the ladder is just right over there to get there. But you hang on to the rock, the thing that's holding you down, and then you blame everyone else or blame yourself or judge yourself or think you can't. When you feel that way, you're below the line. When you get into that creative state of how can I let go of that rock? How could I learn to swim to get over to that ladder? How could I walk across that deck or dock? And then who could I do it with? Who could I reach out to? Who would care that I moved forward? If you're a client on here, you know your health coach cares. And if you're feeling like they don't, you know what? I have a feeling they do. And no matter what, this community really cares about your success. And I know Dr. A, who has led the way, definitely cares about your success. But who matters most is you caring about your success and moving forward on your journey to create life in a way that you never thought possible before. How can we overcome that drama that we put in our lives? We have something that we call the drama triangle that was from the Conscious Leadership book. I'm going to actually share it with you so that you can see it right from the authors of the book's perspective. And I won't have to go into details, and I think you can actually go to it on your own at any time too. So I'm going to do a new share here and take you into YouTube to watch the video. And is it conscious? I believe it's, well, look up Conscious Leadership and you'll be able to find it that way. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yeah, Lisa, that looks good.
Are you working from presence or the drama triangle?
Brought to you by the Conscious Leadership Group. Find them on the web at www.conscious.is. Conscious leaders know the difference between working from presence and working from the drama triangle. Presence is above the line, and drama is below the line. Most leaders and most organizations spend most of their time in the drama triangle. Drama is characterized by blame, wanting to be right, toxic fear, and adrenaline. Like good dramas at the movies, all drama has characters that play certain roles. The drama triangle has a hero, a villain, and a victim. The job of the hero is to seek temporary relief. The keyword is temporary. The hero is the one who gives a hungry person a fish sandwich rather than telling them how to fish. The hero doesn't want others or themselves to feel bad, so they say and do things that make the immediate pain go away without facing and dealing with the core issue. When I'm exhausted from overworking, I hero myself by eating and drinking mindlessly, or surfing the web, or exercising. When another feels sad, I hero them by saying things like, "It'll be okay," or "I'll do it for you." The hero seeks value by being needed by others. The second role on the drama triangle is the villain. The villain's job is to blame. I can blame myself, others, or blame the group. When I blame myself, I say things like, "I shouldn't have eaten that donut," or "I should work harder," or "I messed up that presentation." When we blame others, we say, "It's your fault we didn't get that project done," or "You didn't give your best effort." When we blame a group, we say, "They messed it up for all of us," or "They just don't get it." The final role on the triangle is the role of victim. The victim is at the effect of. Life is happening to them. For the victim, a person, circumstance, or condition is doing something, or not doing something, that is causing the victim's life to be as it is. I can be at the effect of anything, including my boss, my kids, the weather, my traffic, my boss. When I'm in victim, I'm feeling powerless. Every role in the drama triangle is a form of victim consciousness. And in the end, everyone is trying to prove that they are the biggest victim. When people and teams work in presence, the roles change. The victim moves from victim to being the creator. They take responsibility for their lives and stop complaining about what is happening to them. The villain becomes the challenger. Challengers bring healthy pressure to the creator to support them in facing and dealing with their lives in a way that creates a breakthrough. Unlike the villain, they don't blame or criticize. In presence, the hero becomes the coach. The coach doesn't try to fix anyone. They see everyone as fully empowered creators of their own lives and seek to support them in taking responsibility for creating the life they most want. Leaders and teams that learn to play in the creator, coach, or challenger roles of presence find they are more creative, engaged, aligned, and energized. They have more fun and get more things done. So, are you working from presence or the drama triangle? Are you working from presence?
Where did you see yourself in that? Were you the hero, wanting to be right, fix things temporarily? Are you the villain, blaming? Are you coming from a place of fear and feeling like you don't have control or you're powerless? Most all of us experience all of those almost every day, if not every hour, in some form or another. What we have learned is all of us have a tendency to do that, but it's how fast we shift to being into that the opposite side, above the line, the coach, the challenger, the creator. Isn't it wonderful when we can take responsibility for what we do in our life and the decisions and the choices of how we react to things that we don't even have control over, but at least we have control over how we react to them. And that coach is there to point that out and be, even when you don't believe you have control over your life and take responsibility for it, if the coach supports you and say, "You got this," you can take control over that eating. That, when you're going to that party and there's alcohol there and it's going to throw you off your program and not accomplish the goal that you want, I really know that you have the ability to do it. You have a program that can do it, and I'm here to support you. And if you make a plan, I'm sure you could do it. And then the challenger that says, "A little tough love. Remind me, is that the goal that you set out to do? Is that something that you still want? Is what you're doing going to create that outcome?" And just, with permission, ask if you want some accountability there. So when you work from presence, life and relationships will be so much more creative. You'll be engaged, aligned, and you'll be able to accomplish more. I think I like above the line on that one too. You guys too, as well? Does anybody want to put where they feel they fall the most? Are you when you're below the line, would you say you are below the line more as a hero coming in to help fix things and you feel valued when people are thinking you're helping them? Which you might be. Is it temporary fix and they're still in that same problem? You just helped them shortly? How about the challenger, or the villain? Anybody play that role? You can put it in the chat if you'd like, or not share it. That part's up to you. I would say if you're a coach on the line, most of us fall into the hero part first. And then you can see how the drama can start from there when somebody's not following the program and then we're thinking, what am I doing something wrong? And we start become the villain or the victim in that as well. So yeah, I call myself a fixer, somebody said. And I used to think that was a good thing, that I could help people fix their problems, until I realized sometimes I was enabling instead of empowering. So that's what our role is as a coach. And your role as the creator, the client, is to say, what could I take responsibility for? How can I really create the outcome I want? Can I stick with the program? Would it help to be surrounded by community? Would it help to be on the Habits of Health call and learn about a healthy lifestyle? Would it be good to stay in touch with my coach and dig into the Habits of Health books and know how to apply it to my life? That's the creator. That's the one that's taking responsibility. Could I learn to handle my emotions? It's something I'm going to be talking about next. So as you go through this presentation, be thinking, am I more in presence or more in drama? And then how can I shift if I am more in drama? What I mean by that is, above the line is taking ownership and accountability and responsibility for the choices we make and how we react to things. Below the line, breaking it down, is that blame, making excuses, being in denial for that matter. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to somebody and they say they're healthy. And I find out they're on their diabetic medication, their cholesterol, and their blood pressure medication, but because they have it under control, they feel they are healthy. If you need medication for it, that would be something we'd want to help you work towards alleviating, if at all possible. Eliminate or at least very much reduce those medications when we start changing our healthy lifestyle. So one of the first things we can do is stop, challenge, choose. If you guys don't know what that is by now, I'm thinking you're either new or you haven't been around the Habits of Health much. Stop, challenge, choose is where we stop, notice how we're reacting to something, our breathing, our body position, and we challenge ourselves. What is it we want to have happen? What's been going on? How do I want to choose my desired outcome? Will this action get me closer to or further away from my desired outcome? It could be eating-wise, a trigger, or it could be something like a relationship in your life and you're upset with somebody, but if you act on it right then, would you help the relationship or would you hurt it based on what you want to have come out of your mouth? Take a couple of deep breaths, think it through, maybe think about what it might be like from their perspective. Might calm you down, or even make a joke, and I'm going to share that too as one of the ways. Okay, so shifting above the line with stop, challenge, choose. Emotions. That's where it usually starts, with that stop, challenge, choose. You recognize where your emotions are. Anybody ever find themselves, I'm going to say, in a fearful place, but you might lash out in anger? I'm thinking, I've been embarrassed before. Anybody else go, get upset with that person, but what really is going on is you're feeling embarrassed and feeling self-conscious, and you lash out in anger. Anger wasn't the original emotion. It was the thoughts around the emotion. So emotions are not a thought. A lot of us think we're having a thought when we have an emotion, but the emotion triggers something that creates a thought. So because emotion is just energy. Emotion is a natural response to stimulus. So 5 primary emotions are to varying degrees are anger, fear, sadness, joy. I like that one the best. Sexual feelings. Well, okay. That actually can be desire and creative. He's not just talking about the physical sexual feeling. He's also talking about that creative, when you start getting energized by something and these feelings come, it's like you get a little excited. Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful too? There's all kinds of degrees in between and a combination of some of those emotions, but those are the primary ones. And from that Conscious Leadership book, he talks about that, and it has an illustration that was really helpful to me. I didn't realize or even was aware that when we have certain emotions, It shows up in certain parts of our body, not always 100% of the time, but generally speaking, if you're feeling something in the pit of your stomach, have you ever heard your stomach is tied up in knots? It's usually from fear. And sometimes you might not think it's fear, but if you pay attention to that, I remember thinking of a situation that might be a little too private here, but there's a situation where I found myself thinking I was angry about something, but what it really was is I had a fear of loss of a relationship. And I was getting angry about it, but really what was going on is the fear. And when we recognize the true emotion, we can actually act on that. Let's say I'm feeling fear from losing that emotion. I'm getting tense. I can feel my stomach tying up in knots. I recognize it. And I start doing deep breathing. Put my hand on my stomach, and then just a inhale and an exhale with a pause in between each. And the part, if you really do it well, you're going to actually be making a sound that represents the emotion you're fearing or feeling. Like if I'm feeling fear, at the end of it. I remember when I read that, I thought, oh, this is weird. But when I started doing it, I thought weird because it was cool weird. It actually was making a difference. And it only takes about 90 seconds for the deep breathing, expressing that sound. And pretty soon you might not even be able to make the sound because that emotion is going away. Sometimes if we've been buried in it, been looping that same emotion for so long, you might need to do it more than 90 seconds, maybe 2 or 3 rounds until you feel relaxed. So
hey, Lisa.
Yes, sir.
Hey, quick question. We're all viewing the drama triangle slide and just wondering if you might have to stop share and reshare where you're at on your slide presentation.
Thank you so much, David. I will do that right now because the illustration will really help with that for sure. So thanks for pointing that out. Okay, there you can see the picture of the emotions, the sadness, the anger, joy, feelings of, the sexual feelings is kind of cut off. I don't know if that was intentional or not because we're a G-rated.
We're still seeing the drama triangle on our side. You might need to stop share and go back completely out.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
But for those of you that are listening in right now, we'd love to give an example of where you went below the line or when you actually accept a responsibility and played above the line. If you have an opportunity where you have gone below the line or maybe one that you've actually gone back above the line and how you made that switch, we'd love to see that in the chat message.
Yes, if you know how to shift, that is amazing. If you've already learned that skill set, and as we go through, you'll be able to do it. So that deep breathing is one that will really help you recognize where things are coming from. Just let the energy go out. And then if you watch your thoughts and be aware of your thoughts, you're going to notice that it wasn't the emotion that started causing all the turmoil. It was the thoughts around the emotion. So that being said, how can we shift above the line? Another way would be deep breathing. So that's what we were talking about. That's the first place. Or a couple of sips of water would be a really quick way to deal with it. And then the other way, shifting position. Literally, if you are in a chair and you're like getting tense about something, just sitting back and relaxing a little bit. That alone, the shifting the body position, or you're looking at some food and it's triggering you and it's like, oh, I really want to have that. Walk away. That's definitely shifting the position, right? That's a very easy, just triggers it right there. Even a thought can be interrupted by speaking out loud. If you started counting backwards from 100 down, and in the middle of it, I say your name out loud, you would forget the thoughts that you were counting 10, 9, or 100, 99, 98, and Lisa. It interrupts the thought. So just speaking out loud can also shift the thought. Okay, so we go back above the line. Now we're back down again. But guess what would happen if we appreciated our situation? I'm thinking, how do you appreciate the fact that you're held up in traffic? Well, it could have been you in that accident that's up ahead. Appreciating the fact when you're in an argument with your husband. Isn't it wonderful that you've been married for 38 years? Through any kind of turmoil and stress and things, we have each other. I appreciate the fact that my husband is so, has a lot of grace for his lovely bride, as he calls me. So appreciating our relationship will shift me above the line. And then the next one, this is one we use a lot, especially me, humor. Dr. Joe is going to be on the next call following this, and I think of him as definitely having humor. He has a witty humor for about every situation. Some of it would be appropriate for doctors, and And then my husband had humor that was only appropriate for police officers. But with us, I love doing puns and just, having fun with that. And it can shift it all around just by doing a little bit of humor and having a laugh about something when you're getting a little too serious about something or getting caught up in a drama or the thoughts getting carried away. Make a joke. What did the bald man say when he got a comb for his birthday? Thanks, I'll never part with it. So if any of you guys are getting too serious, hopefully that got you laughing. That was something I learned when I was 7 years old, and I can still use it today. I'll save my favorite for later on, one that I actually made up. And every time I get into a place, I'll even say it, and my husband's probably heard it 100 times. And I'll say, wasn't that funny? And yes, dear, it was funny. And we'll just break up whatever's going on. Humor is one of my favorite ways to shift above the line. Last but not least, be curious. We have 5 minutes to ask you some questions that I've asked on other presentations. So I'm going to go through it a little more quickly, but I want you to truly think about it. You've been thinking about ways you've maybe been below the line and above the line. When are you fully present? Be curious. When you find yourself in a situation like, why is that happening? Instead, wonder why that's happening. You don't even have to know the answer. Just ask the question and it will change your drama into, what could I do about that? Or this is what I've been saying to myself lately, when there's something that I feel is out of my control, other than my reaction, I'll say, it is what it is. It is what it is. That's my favorite saying right now because it shifts me, just that little phrase. So if you're curious, it'll cause you to shift above the line. So here's 3 simple questions you can ask yourself. When there is a negative thought going on in your head, ask yourself what happened. I mean facts, not your opinion, not your thoughts, not your emotions, but what actually happened. Be objective in that. What was missing? Almost always, I've discovered it's the relationship, a trusting relationship, or communication. You might think somebody should know, and how many of us wives try to think our husbands can read our minds and then we act on it? I can't tell you, when my husband and I were first married, I was upset about something. I went up to my room and cried, and I thought, why isn't he coming to ask what's wrong with me? He should know that I'm hurting up here. I look back and some of the immaturity I had back then, now it's like, now I express it. You might not be aware, but this is something I'm feeling because of this situation. And we can talk it through. So that would be what's next. Talk through, learn how to communicate better, read books on personal growth. My favorite is the Bible. Coming from a place of giving grace is a huge one. So what's next? I'm actually reading a book on Crucial Conversations is the name of the book because I want to know how to have an effective conversation. That was Crucial Conversation. I love that book. So holding up the mirror questions, here's another series of 4 questions. Regarding your thoughts, if you find your emotions have turned to a thought, if you don't control the thought before it becomes a mood, and then you stay in that mood so long, and you tell everybody about all those thoughts you're having, and then that mood, if you hang around that for a long time, it can turn into anxiety or depression. We've got a lot of people out on depression medication right now. Might even be you. How much of it do we have control over? How much has our brain chemistry been changed because our thoughts are messing with us? Just like inflammation can affect areas of our body, you kind of wonder if our thoughts are kind of messing with our heads. So that being said, don't take offense if you're on it and you need it. That's, I'm on hormones right now, and I always said I'd never be on hormones, but it was affecting my emotions. It was affecting my mood. It was affecting my effectiveness. So I chose to do something that would make it better. Even though I said I wouldn't do it, I made a choice that it was better, would help with my hormones. So if I have something that's going through my head and I say, is it true? A lot of people will say when I ask them that question when they're in the negative cycle, well, yeah, it's true because da, da, da. And then I say, do you absolutely know it to be true if you just look at the facts? And then how do you react when you believe that thought? My husband doesn't love me. See, I know he doesn't love me. See, there's proof. See, he did that. Oh, yeah, see, but would he be with me if he didn't love me? Would he do kind things for me if he didn't love me? So it's not absolutely true that my husband does not love me. I'm just making that up, sweetie. I know you're listening. How do you react when you believe that thought? I look for evidence to prove it. I don't want to be around. I'm not as kind. I don't want to spend time. I ruin our dates. What a great way to live, all because of a thought. How would you show up if you didn't believe that thought? What if I believed my husband actually loved me? Would I go up and kiss him? Would I hug him? Would I say, hey, let's go out and do something fun? Would I interact with him in a way that made him feel special? Would he treat me back that way? Which life would you like? Just going through those 4 questions when you find yourself in that cycle of negative thinking, this will pull you out. I have, to really practice it. Now I just automatically do it so much faster, but not always. Obviously, the more we practice it, the better we'll get at it. So we're wanting to wrap up. And with the wrap up, I want you to be thinking about stop, challenge, choose. The habit loop of disease. This is our last slide. And it talks about, let's say the boss yells at you. Are you like me, who I used to go and no matter what went wrong, I would choose chocolate to medicate myself. I'd feel better temporarily. There actually is a physiological thing that happens when you have high carbs. Would that soothe out my emotions temporarily? But just like that hero, it's only going to fix it and then it's going to weaken me for the future. So instead, if you could type in the chat, what of those ways of shifting above the line would you do when the boss yells at you? You could do the breathing exercise. Do you guys remember some of the other ones? Can you put that in the chat? Well, how would you soothe your emotions that would be a healthy way to do it? All right, we got some things going on there. Very good. Okay, so I'm having to scroll down a long way to catch up here. You guys have a lot of great things in there. Oh, do some yoga, breathe, go to bed, take a walk, water. Yeah, drink that water. That's a great one, especially if you put the hydration in it. And then a lot of you are saying drink water, pray. Definitely a good thing. And just shift your position, body. You guys were listening very well. You guys are good students. So you are becoming healthier minded people. So congratulations for making that decision.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.